You still selling, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our client's best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Farmers, when you get stuck in the field, make the call to Oaks Truck and Trailer. Pulling equipment out of the field can be dangerous. Why not leave it to the pros so you don't get hurt and your equipment doesn't get damaged? With 40 years of experience, Oaks Truck and Trailer is trusted far and wide when it comes to large equipment, diagnostics, analytics, and repairing farm equipment. Next time you find yourself stuck in the mud, call Oaks Truck and Trailer. Online at oakstruckandtrailer.com.
Weather and Ag in Focus on WDAY Radio.
Oh my God! Got him! And welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus on this Friday. A beautiful afternoon out there. 106, and we have mostly sunny skies here in the FM area. Temperatures just poking into the low 60s now, although check this out. Already 70 degrees in Morton, Edgeley at 71, Milner, you're at 71, 72 in Edgeley, and up in the Northern Valley, some 70s as well. Forest River at 72, 70 in Inkster, while just to the east of the FM area, into areas of Clay County, still a deck of clouds, upper 50s to low 60s, but we'll all warm up close to that 70-degree mark today. Some spots obviously already a little bit warmer than that. Could this be the last?
Guys,
hurrah!
Guys, I'm feeling a little. I gotta go.
Yeah, me too. No. Justin,
it's too hot outside. I'll stay.
Yeah, it is for you.
You guys go. I'll tank the rest of the show for you.
Hey, that Bridgette. Bridgette,
all the ag topics I got stored up here,
there you go.
Yeah,
so you could take this.
I would like to say an absolute compliment to you both. Justin came into this show when we first proposed it. We were like, two guys that don't know a lot about ag, me not knowing much about weather, Justin having run the farming simulator game, and now look at us. We actually know stuff about each other's things, and it's going pretty good, I guess.
I own some tractors now.
I am so happy you own tractors now. So happy.
Yay.
That's awesome.
That's not going to be in one piece once Sterling gets older.
He ain't touching it.
Yeah. Oh, he'll find it.
Oh, I'm sure he will.
Did you know there is a company out there, and I have to go find it. I think it's called Boundary, where if you took an aerial map of like your farm or your land, they will make a rug or a carpet for you to have for yourself or your kids to go carpet farming. So it would look just like your land on a big rug. I think that would be awesome.
And use the little tractors, the little toy tractors to help. That'd be great. Find out the name of that company.
Fabulous.
That'd be great.
I think it's Boundary. Pardon me as I'm over here Googling away.
Okay.
Don't worry, I'm doing the same thing, except I'm just looking at maps.
Well, let's take a quick look at the forecast while you guys are Googling away over there. We've got a lot of sunshine, clouds still hanging on just to the east of the valley, but we'll have increasing sunshine for the rest of the day. Highs in the low 70s today, some spots a touch warmer than that, with winds switching to the west, northwest as we head throughout the afternoon, and it'll become a little bit breezy, about 10 to 25. For tonight, mid-40s for your low, and the weekend looking pretty nice, with highs both days right around 60, give or take a couple of degrees, a little bit breezy on Sunday. And then we'll finally come back to reality by next week, as we'll have temperatures about where they should be in this time of the year, low to mid-50s to start off the week. But still looking at the potential of for sure we're going to turn markedly colder by late next week and into the following weekend. It looks like a cold Halloween around here. And the question is, before that cold air gets here, do we get some measurable snow before the cold air arrives? And that's still in question. Our American model is pretty bullish on it, saying, yeah, we're going to get some measurable snow. And the European model, not as aggressive. So we'll have to wait and see. This should iron itself out by early next week. And this is typical. When we undergo a big pattern change, our models are usually all over the place. They'll flip-flop back and forth. One day showing snow, the next day nothing. So, again, by early next week, we'll have a better handle on that situation for late next week. But if you have any travel plans, Bridgette, going west, Bridgette, on Friday, Bridgette, you might want to keep up to date on the forecast or just maybe stay put.
Who y'all looking
at? Yeah.
What? Okay, again, this LRC, all it is my travel schedule. Convoluted, confounded, just it's in dismay. If I'm going to travel, the LRC looks at it and goes, we're going to target that right there.
That's
honestly,
the area.
That's what it is. Man, just unlucky.
And you seriously...
Or you're onto something. This could be your $1 million idea. You should just put together a travel calendar everywhere across the United States for the whole year and sell it.
I am totally going to make sure to cash in on that deal. I'll cut you guys in on a small percentage. Thanks for the idea.
And you know what, Bridget? I mean, you could actually go into drought-stricken areas and, help with the drought.
That worked. That actually worked.
See?
Because there were some areas I traveled to this fall that hadn't had rain until I got there. So it's me.
You are. That's for sure.
It's something else. We're onto something here. I don't know what it is, but it's something.
The terribly dangerous trend is what that's about. And really, I would think auto body guys want to know exactly where I'm at because ice storms just mean they can cash in. So they're going to want to follow the trail of destruction behind me going down the road. Man. So anywho, that's
perfect.
Just some thoughts.
So I would use this weekend if you have any, I'm sure, let's finish harvesting. Let's get in all the patio furniture. If you have any outdoor chores, I would highly suggest get them done this weekend. Get them done this weekend.
I think I'm going to take you up on that. I got to finish winterizing the garden. I got the deck that needs to be put away. I got all sorts of winterizing stuff.
See?
Now, also, I want to point out, will this be gone in time for Halloween? Because I have to decide if I got to wear my snowsuit or my costume.
It will be.
Because remember, we had to do that as kids.
Right? It will be a cold Halloween, it looks like. So I'm sure.
Do you mean the snow or the cold? If we get snow.
Yes.
Both?
All the above.
No.
Both?
Then no. One.
Yeah. Okay,
you get
fine.
one. I'll let you pick because apparently you decide what's going on with the weather.
I don't want the snow. I can stand the cold, but I'm ditching the snow. If it comes down,
there you go, everyone.
I want it to melt right
That's
away.
your forecast.
There's your forecast.
It's going to be cold.
Ironclad.
It's going to be cold.
Better than the Magic 8 Ball.
Yeah.
Whoa. Don't push it.
Oh, well, that's good to know. Hey, guys,
All right.
Speaking of pushing it, okay, you're going to love this. I have been waiting all week to share this with you. There is a 14-year-old Holstein cow in Indiana whose name is Norbert Colby Connie. Let's just call her Connie. Connie is so impressive, she has surpassed the lifetime milk production record of 486,300 pounds because she has gotten what that milk produces. Well, she's gotten to 904,000 cups of milk, over 600,000 scoops of ice cream, and just shy of 23,000 pounds of butter. I'll take the butter.
Wow. Can we get a wow as well?
That was so awesome. Yes.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Her lifetime milk production total would feed 10 people for 80 years if each person took in the daily requirement of 3 servings of milk per day.
Wow.
So I'm just thinking, Connie is all sorts of fantastic.
Connie's on it.
I got a friend named Connie. I don't think she would appreciate being.
I remember Connie.
Whew, I don't know.
Let's be careful. Hey guys, family show. Let's be good over here. I'm talking about Connie the dairy cow.
Oh, okay.
All right, good. Anywho, so yes, that's what's going on in Indiana for milk production today.
That's a lot of dairy.
Well, let's see what else we got going on the show today. We got a few ag topics that we'll maybe get to at some point. Those are house plants for your health, as well as Norman County farmers donate to the food bank, and a record-setting dairy cow, which we just talked about that one. So we still have 2 for the rest of the day. I think there's one from yesterday we never touched on, something about hunting season,
probably
or
3.
Maybe
There's probably
ranching
all of
in
them.
Mexico. I think we have a whole week's worth of ag topics to cram into 12 minutes today, along with another check on the forecast and a guest that'll be joining us here in about 5 minutes. That's Clint Fisher Ribstein. Am I saying that correctly there, Bridgette? Is it Ribstein or Ribstein?
Hold on. Nope. So it's Clint Fisher. He works for a company that the law firm in South Dakota in Brookings. That's Ribstein. But Clint is going to talk to us today because he does a lot of things on Twitter. He's part of what we call the Brain Trust for Ag. And a lot of his tweets are very thought-provoking when it comes to building a legacy, transitioning in the farm, getting new farmers involved. So I'm interested to see all the things that Clint hears about and what talks about. I think you guys will enjoy asking him questions as well. So it'll be fun to have a guest.
Looking forward to that. And
absolutely.
Let's see, what else? Do we have anything else? I think that's about wraps up the show for the day.
Are we done? Is that what you're saying?
I think that wraps it up. Thanks everybody for listening today. We'll be back on Monday from 1 to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We have a tea time at 1:30, so you're going to enjoy the next 45 minutes of infomercial commercials. I hope you have a great rest of your Friday.
Are you guys going to take me golfing? That's awesome because I've never actually had a hole-in-one or a home run. So either one could happen on the golf course for me.
Good night. Oh.
I hope you brought your tennis racket.
I was planning on it.
Speaking
because
of,
I
we
heard
better
it's
get
best
going.
to use that with a birdie.
Prairie Rose is about a 10-minute drive or a 10-minute drive away, and we got to get all of our stuff packed in the car. So why don't we hit up some American Ag Network and catch everyone next week?
Livestock is lower for the American Ag Network. I'm Richard Risvet with this market update. Live cattle futures posted light to moderate gains earlier this morning. However, traders are focusing attention on the movement in the cash market at the end of the day, as well as the upcoming cattle on feed report. Overall, cattle on feed numbers are expected to be 1% below year-ago levels, and marketing is projected well below last year. These factors seem to have already been priced into the market, but overall placements have the largest question mark, which could bring additional volatility based on actual report numbers. Now, it'll be Monday before traders are able to trade the report results. A weekend to process and digest these numbers can add uncertainty of market direction. Cash cattle trade remains quiet today following light and moderate trade activity yesterday. Sales developed in the north at $294. That's a $2 gain from last week, and $184 to $185 per hundredweight in the south. Southern deals are generally $1 to $2 higher than last week. It is uncertain just how much additional momentum cash markets may have, although it is possible that feeders may hold out until after the report is released. In the hog, sharp losses have quickly developed. After remaining insulated to active losses in cattle trade yesterday, the overall market weakness consuming the cattle complex has quickly gained momentum in lean hog futures as well. The combination of weak commodity markets, softness in morning cash values, and pressure in pork values has sparked renewed selling pressure with little to no interest from buyers to step in and stabilize the market. We'll get a look at the livestock numbers. You're listening to the American Ag Network.
The North Dakota Crop Improvement and Seed Association is leading the way, empowering farmers, granting them access to revolutionary genetics. Our mission is to equip farmers with state-of-the-art seed varieties with proven robust agronomic traits, including high yield, ideal test weight, rich protein content, and formidable disease resistance. All the while, we remain committed to preserving superior end-use quality. Witness the future of farming unfold at ndcropimprovement.com.
This is Ernie Johnson Jr. Sports is about overcoming obstacles, and college coaches work hard to help young men overcome Duchenne muscular dystrophy. It's called Coach to Cure MD, and you can help. Text the word CURE to 501-501 to donate $25 on your next mobile phone bill. Or go online to coachtocuremd.org. Text the word CURE to 501-501. Help coaches cure MD.
Brought to you by the American Football Coaches Association.
We're down 20 at 184.20. December down 75 at 184.55. February down 120 at 187.75. And the April live cattle, they're down 115 at 190.52. Lean hogs December down 180 at 66.20. February down 185 at 70.47. And the April lean hogs, they're down 197 at 76.97. For the American Ag Network, I'm Richard Ristvet.
Weather and Ag in Focus on WDAY Radio.
And welcome to all the sounds and the voices that you like to hear this afternoon here on Weather and Ag in Focus. Well, our guest is coming up shortly. I think he is probably getting all of his mics and so forth set up for us. But meantime, let's not forget a thank you to our Here We Grow sponsors for Friday, and that would be one, Gowan. Gowan supported us with a Fiance fungicide for prevention of white mold. And Marcia was in studio earlier this week with Dean, and he got the benefit of all of her goodies. She brought like cantaloupe bread with caramel frosting.
Yeah, that thing's gone.
And there was a couple of little jars left in the office for me. I'm that's maybe not what they were, but maybe we'll see.
More of a vodka mix for me.
It's a great vodka mix, without a doubt. And who doesn't, hey, potatoes, you're getting your vegetables in there, so.
Well, you do get those in there. And then additionally, our other sponsor, Red Wing Shoes, they got us all lined up with our great shoes to be wearing while we're in the field. And thank you to Teresa and the gang. If you're looking for new work shoes, make sure you stop in at Red Wing. That would work out great. I love them. They're a family tradition for me. So
they
hopefully
make a great
for you
Christmas
guys too.
present as well.
Are you hinting that you need more? Does baby Sterling need baby shoes?
Yeah, I'm going to guess his foot size, and we're just going to keep him in the closet for about, say, 12 years or so.
Okay, that seems about right. Make sure it's your shoe size, because that way you can break them in before he gets started.
Yeah, if they don't fit him, I got a new pair when these ones wear out in about 14 years from now.
Perfect. So our guest is all ready to go, and that is Clint Fisher. Clint is with the law firm of Ribstein Hogan in Brookings, South Dakota. But I know Clint all for different reasons, and I don't want that to sound weird. I just know him from Twitter. So, Clint, how are you today? It is so great to see you there.
Yeah, doing great down here a little further south than you folks are. And I wanted to mention that I'm going to jump on Justin's bandwagon and stay inside because we can't ice fish when it's liquid out yet. So
I like this guy. He's onto something.
He's not wrong. There's no doubt. Okay, so Clint, would you care to introduce yourself to folks, who you are, what you do, and then let's talk about this whole brain trust thing that you've got going on.
Sure. Yeah. The brief background is, so I'm in East Central South Dakota and been involved in ag my whole life. And after college, I spent 10 years managing various ag retail locations, specifically looking in the business world of ag, and then got a harebrained idea to go to law school. And so I was one of those old people in class, the non-traditionals, and ended up graduating a year ago. And so now I am an attorney here in Brookings, South Dakota, with Ribstein Hogan Law Firm. And so my main focus is really on farm succession, estate transition planning. What I did before starting here at Ribstein and Hogan is I was doing a lot of one-on-one independent advisory work and helping on the business management side of farming and ranching operations, as well as the transition aspect. The transition component is so key, whether it's going from the owner generation down to a somebody within their family, or a third party, right? An independent person coming in. And so I was advising kind of on those two ends of the spectrum. One, the new people coming in and helping them with the business management things, and then also helping the retiring generation to transition the farm business successfully. And so what ended up happening with those kind of one-on-one advisory work is that there were a lot of frequently asked questions. There were a lot of common scenarios that ended up being brought up. And so I thought, what's the best way to, one, kind of answer these questions that I get frequently in one time, and then let other people kind of read that or find that content or find those solutions on their own time. But then also, two, how do I connect with other people who are interested in these types of discussions and this type of work? And so that's when the idea of Brain Trust Ag came about, which is really, it's an online community of people who are kind of focused on the business side of ag, the transition side of agriculture, because frankly, I'm not very good with science. So I can't advise anybody on crop production or animal nutrition. So I stick to the business and the legal side of things.
And Clint, what would you say is the biggest, I don't know if I want to say obstacle or hurdle when it comes to farm transitioning?
Number one is just merely procrastination. It is not, as an owner generation, it is not wanting to deal with the issue because it's not something that you see immediate results from, right? This is something you're planning on hopefully decades in the future, sometimes weeks in the future, if we're procrastinating long enough. But really, it's just a matter of understanding that in order for me to leave what I would say is a lasting legacy of a farm operation, the best way to do that is start planning early and make sure that plan is kind of living and breathing and it's revised and it's updated as different scenarios happen, because we're dealing with humans, right? We're not dealing with just black and white numbers. And so by pushing that kind of that decision to even start the process down the road, all it does is it ends up causing more confusion for the next generation. It ends up causing a little bit more stress with family dynamics and family relationships because we're not addressing the elephant in the room, which is, hey, we don't know what's going to happen when mom and dad either retire or they pass away. And so it's hard to make long-term business decisions. It's hard to make investments in your operation as a successor generation if you don't really know what's going to happen. So I would say procrastination is really one of the big hurdles for the next generation to come in and be able just to take charge of the management decisions, take charge of the ownership side of the operation.
And
go ahead, Bridgette.
Go ahead, Dean.
Go
ahead.
I was going to say, and for people that are procrastinating, which unfortunately a lot of us do, it's a pretty easy process, is it not? I mean, if they're worried about, this is just going to be a long, drawn-out process, I don't have the time, it's really not that difficult, is it?
Well, it's one of those, it's relatively simple, maybe not necessarily easy. It's simple in the fact of there are tons of resources. There's a lot of people like myself willing to help who have prior knowledge, who have some specialty within that realm. But it's a little bit of a daunting task. One, you don't really want to face your own mortality. But then two, it is one of those things that unfortunately in the ag world, we're a lot better at burying emotions and stuffing things down deep inside of us versus talking about feelings and human nature sides of things. Sorry, that's just the case. And so what this process does is it brings up a lot of the family relational dynamics. It brings up What is going to happen with the kids who aren't on the farm? How are we going to treat them fairly? How are we going to, treat them equitably? And so it's not necessarily, it's not complex if you find the right advisors, if you work with the right team. But it is a task that can be very complicated, but it doesn't necessarily have to be, to your point.
Mm-hmm.
So, Clint, we're approaching the bottom of the hour here. We're at 1:29, and we're going to resume our conversation with you momentarily. I want to make sure that we touch on, when we talk farm transitions, we always assume there will be another generation within the family that's coming on. What about those situations where there's not? And how do we plan for those things? So let's continue that when we come back with our guest, Clint Fisher, and talk to him then.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same, but at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different? How? You sell high commission investment products, right?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee, structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
Hello from the WDAY News Center. I'm Ty Schoenert with your news update. A pressure cooker left on a sidewalk at Main and Broadway in Fargo during the noon hour yesterday, raising concerns for people in the area.
Well, we didn't know because they didn't tell us what it was right away. So, after what happened on 25th, a couple weeks ago, a month ago, you kind of take things serious now. So, we moved everybody away from the windows and put them all downstairs, so in case something happened, we didn't want nobody to get hurt.
Sean Gibbrey, the owner of Bab's Coffee House across the street from where the pressure cooker was left behind. A police bomb squad called to the scene and determined the cooker was not an explosive. No word yet on how the device wound up on a sidewalk. One person hurt in a chain reaction crash on I-29 south of Fargo late yesterday afternoon. Troopers say it happened in the northbound lanes near mile marker 52 when a semi with a mechanical failure became disabled and blocked the road. 4 vehicles ended up colliding due to the blockage. The person who was hurt only suffering minor injuries. State Patrol reminding you to call 911 if your vehicle becomes disabled and creates a traffic hazard. They also say it's important to keep a safe following distance and remain distraction-free while behind the wheel. And the West Fargo Fire Department partially operating out of their new headquarters. Contractors still finishing up on the building, then it'll be complete. I'm Ty Schoenert with WDAY Radio Now.com. First with the news when you need to know.
Hello, Fargo. This is John Adams, your host of Talk of the Town. My show is designed to highlight everything great about the city, the valley, and the country in which we live. I've had the great fortune of meeting, working, and living with wonderful people in the Fargo-Moorhead area, and I want to bring their stories to you. Human interest stories, sports, timely topics that affect all of us in the Red River Valley. Talk of the Town with John Adams. Tune in for positivity and fun.
There are a million reasons to love a pet and a million more to love a shelter pet. During the month of October, Muscatel Subaru has teamed up with Homeward Animal Shelter of Fargo to find forever homes for shelter pets by donating $100 each day of the month toward pet adoption fees. Having Muscatel Subaru help with adoption fees makes this a great time to consider adopting a 4-legged companion. Go to homewardonline.org to see available pets and to make an appointment today.
Hi, Teresa here from the Fargo Red Wing Shoe Store. Get ready to strut your stuff confidently, like a duck in a downpour, through rain-soaked streets and muddy fields. Come see us and make a splash in a new pair of Red Wing boots. No more soggy socks or chilly toes. Our boots are built tough to keep you warm and dry. Why settle for anything less? Step into style and weatherproof your feet with a new pair of Red Wing boots. Red Wing shoes for ultimate durability. Quack.
This is Weather and Ag in Focus with Bridgette Readel, Justin Storm, and Dean Wysocki.
And thank you for joining us. We're really glad you're here today. And our guest is Clint Fisher. Clint is with Ribstein and Hogan Law Firm in Brookings, South Dakota. But Clint spends a lot of his time talking about farm transitions, leaving a legacy, and what that all could look like. And he's also the head of an online community called the Brain Trust Ag. And so, Clint, I asked a question before we went to our break, and I wanted to know, when you think about those families that want to transition out of the farm, but they don't have another generation behind them. They don't have someone lined up as a grandkids or nieces and nephews who are going to take over. Where does that conversation begin for folks who don't know what they're going to do next?
And there are really two trends. There's really two trends that I'm seeing. And one is not an old trend. And that trend is, as the owner generation, I've spent my entire life building this operation and making it what it is, and I don't want it to be sold for parts. The second trend is a little bit of a newer trend, and that is many of these farm families don't have a successor generation who necessarily wants to take over. And so they're looking for maybe third-party, unrelated people to come in and to take over the operation, but maintaining it as kind of leaving that legacy. And so in those situations, it's really important to understand that there's some pros and cons really to having third parties come in. Some of the pros are we don't necessarily have all the family history and the family dynamics that sometimes the emotions kind of cloud our judgment when it comes to a family business like a farm. Some of the cons are we don't know these people as well. They may not share the same values. They may not share the same work ethic, the same attachment to the land. And so how do we put in protections for both the owner generation and the new third party coming in, to ensure that one, that the young people coming in, the young family who might be, eventually taking over this farm aren't just viewed as hired slave labor, because that's always a concern out there. And the other concern is, from the owner generation perspective, how can I protect kind of my assets, what I've worked for my whole life, to make sure that these people aren't coming in and just being entitled. And so there's some legal ways to go about that. There's also some just general concept of let's treat this thing like a lot of other businesses who have a succession plan to independent third parties, and let's have this apprenticeship period. Let's have let's make sure our personalities are aligned. Things of that nature can really help facilitate leaving your farming enterprise in good hands, even though they're not related to you.
And that's vitally important. People want to leave that legacy behind, those good hands. So I know you and I have talked about this in the background. Wouldn't it be nice to have like the apprenticeship matchup so we could get Dean matched with that outgoing farmer so Dean could start taking over a farm somewhere along the line? When do we get to do something like that?
It's going to be tough to find somebody willing to take him.
I'm not sure I'm not sure how to take that.
You just take it the way it rolled off.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, what happens if someone doesn't have a transition plan and you get to that point? What happens to land and operation if there's no will or transition plan or successor?
There's always a plan in place. And I say that because the state in which you reside, the state where your land is, has a plan for you. It's the default plan. And most of the time, the vast majority of the time, that's not the plan that you want for your own operation. Right? And that's why it's so important and whether it's a farm or not, whether you have many assets or not, the state has a default plan. And if I'm advising somebody, if I'm just in a conversation with somebody and they say, yeah, I have young kids and I don't have a will in place, I say, well, do you know, heaven forbid, if you and your wife were to pass away in a car accident, well, who's going to take care of your kids? Because who you want to take care of them and who the state says is going to take care of them might be two very different things. And so what ends up happening without a structured plan in place is that the state comes in, they supervise how everything is going to be distributed. They try to keep it as legally fair as possible. And all they look at is bloodlines and lineage. They don't look into the dynamics of the family relationship. They don't look into all the nuances of who wants to take over the farming operation, who can afford to, all those things that we would consider in a comprehensive succession plan. So the short answer to your question is the state has a plan, and oftentimes it's not what we would want, given the option.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have a question. I've got a question for you as well, Clint, but this is going to take things from the opposite direction. And that is, I want you to envision an operation that is multi-generational, multi-partner. And now you have some of that older generation that's ready to get out of the partnership, even though there have been promises made to their heirs who are non-farming that they would get a part of the pie, so to speak. They get a piece of the pie.
Sure.
But those who
Sure.
are actually farming, that want to keep the land together, how do you begin that breakup session, if you will, to make it somewhat equitable? And how do you service the debt? Because there's going to be a whole lot of debt involved on that operation. Does that give you some detail to try to solve a problem for someone?
It does, and it's one of those complex situations that it's tough to give a radio answer to, but we'll do our best.
Okay, fair.
And and the general kind of the idea is that, okay, if owner generation and there's successors who want to take over the operation, our goals are aligned that we want to keep this a viable business. Okay, check that box. And there's off-farm heirs who, are expecting some type of an inheritance or some type of a piece of the pie, like you said. What oftentimes will happen is we'll utilize some of the various tools that are out there, such as life insurance, such as off-farm cash investments, whether it's stocks or mutual funds or whatever that might be. And so we look at what is the personal property kind of piece of the pie, and then include some life insurance into that. And then is that enough to kind of make things equitable to the off-farm heirs? And then we can leave the farming assets to that next generation. If that's not quite a large enough piece of the pie, which often it's not, because as most of us are aware of, agriculture in general, it's very asset heavy and cash poor or cash light. And so we would look at a way to keep the farming operation viable through long-term leases. We can take the land, put it into a trust or an LLC or some kind of a mechanism that allows for a long-term lease to the operators, but then the cash that, the income that's generated from those assets goes to the off-farm heirs to kind of structure things, like you said, equitably. And so there's generally a solution in there, but those solutions don't come about by taking Justin's question and saying the state would never, set up a structure like that, to keep things in consideration. So that's kind of the quick answer, is that there are mechanisms, ways, with the priority being keeping the farming operation viable, financially viable, and we can be equitable to the general, off-farm heirs.
I got one for you here. You've dealt with a lot of these discussions before in the past. Is there one specific one that really stood out to you as unique, or maybe a handful or something like that?
Sure. I think the unique ones have just really been happening recently with looking for third party unrelated people to come in and take over. And it's unique because, that's happened before, which has generally been somebody you've known, a family friend or somebody within the community, somebody you know their background of. I'm helping a gentleman right now with it's basically an employment application process. We're looking for somebody to come in, take over, do an on-farm apprenticeship type scenario. But we've never met these people. We're going to have to screen them, vet them, interview them, try to figure out, are they going to be a right fit? Are their personalities going to match? And then we can put in some, of the legal protections for both parties. But that's probably been the most interesting, is trying to find somebody out there in the U.S. who's willing to move to remote USA and operate a farm. I know people like that are out there who are excited to do that, but it's a matter of just finding that right match. And it's a job hunt. Job hunt with the opportunity of ownership down the road. So it's kind of a unique situation, and I think we're going to see more of that unfold. And if I were you, I would probably invest a little bit of money into Bridgette's farmmatch.com idea, because it's really going to blow up.
That's the goal, right? Keep all these things going, find new places and ways for people to interact together. So, Clint, as we start to wind down in our last few minutes, your Brain Trust Ag as an online community and networking and so forth. Do you want to talk about that just a little bit for those who might have an interest?
Yeah, absolutely. So essentially the idea with Brain Trust Ag is, how can I, personally, I don't know that many things. Believe it or not, I'm not that smart. So I like to learn. I'm a curious person. And so I wanted to surround myself with other people who like farm business, ranch business, and then how can we transition these things. And one of the what I've learned is that through Brain Trust Ag, it's providing kind of two services. One is there's a lot of resources on there. There's checklists and ebooks and different guides and spreadsheets and different tools that people can use to help on their farm business. And the second component is really matching up various other producers from across the U.S. who otherwise wouldn't have an opportunity to meet each other, and then just sharing ideas. And that, to me, when I first started, I thought this was going to be more of I'm going to provide resources, people can use them, cool, that's it. But what I've learned is that it's really about connecting. It's about connecting experts with other ag operators. It's about connecting people from Iowa with people in Oregon, with some people in Canada, and so we can just sit down and have a Zoom call with a dozen people from across the U.S. and just share ideas with how, what's working on our farm, what doesn't work on our farm. And that to me is really the key component is the community aspect, because frankly, ag is kind of a lonely endeavor. And it's good to kind of find your tribe. And thanks to the internet, we're able to find that away from the local coffee shop, and that's a pretty cool component. So I'm excited about the future. It's only a couple months old, Brain Trust Ag, and it's been a good networking tool, you might say.
I believe that farming is a giant network, and the more we can do that and shrink the size of it so we can all know each other, the better. So just thank you so much for joining us, Clint. We greatly appreciate your time and sharing a little bit of your expertise. If you'd like folks to find you and follow, where could they do that?
Well, I'm most active on Twitter, or X, I guess, however we want to call that. It's at Clint W. Fisher. Otherwise, go to Brain Trust Ag, and my email address is on there. I'm a pretty easy person to get a hold of, and find out more from there. And then if you want to work with me on some farm transition, estate planning work, check out Ribstein and Hogan out of Brookings, South Dakota.
Much appreciated. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, thanks, Clint.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate the time,
folks,
everybody.
Well, we're so glad you
Not a
could make
problem.
time. I mean, it's kind of nice to get someone to catch up with us on a Friday afternoon. And the rest of you folks, don't go anywhere. Even though it's beautiful outside, we're not done yet. We want to recap the weather and some more headlines, so stay tuned.
They'll have you laughing right along with them. They're Bonnie and Friends.
That's called the cleanup bowl, is when he comes in after the fact. That's if not everybody got pregnant and you have some open cows.
He knows how to get her done.
That's right.
Some open cows. Yes, I'm single right now. I'm looking for a bowl.
That's roughly how it's going to go.
That's what I thought.
Bang a gong and get it on.
Don't.
Or a cow.
I should have really spent more time in veterinary science.
Bonnie and Friends. Catch them weekday mornings beginning at 5.
I'm Jimmy Uland, and I farm close to Prosper, North Dakota. I've been with Ellingson for about a little over a year. Their engineering department seems superior to others. They seem to think the way I do, where I'd like it to drain, and whereas other companies sometimes drain it what's easiest or whatever, whereas Ellingson seems to do what's best for the field. Sometimes Ellingson's been a little higher, but I'll hire them just because of my confidence in their engineering department. They've been real good to work with, and when they tell you something, they carry through with it. So.
That was Jim Uland with his views on Ellingson drainage.
With Jiffy Lube Multicare, it's our job to make car care make sense. With personalized service reviews that swap the car talk for straight talk, so you know what your car is telling you and what to do about it. Where highly trained service technicians have your back, helping you take care of the small stuff before it becomes big stuff. Plus a full range of services from Pennzoil oil changes to tires, brakes, batteries, and more. We've got what your car needs, so you're ready for whatever's next. Putting you in the driver's seat of car care, that's a job for Jiffy.
Jiffy Lube, 620 Dakota Avenue, Wapaton.
Okay, so what do Americans do at least once per week? Yep, get their vehicle washed. Take some pride in that ride and take it to Tommy's Express Car Wash. Yeah, it's a system to get you the best car wash, fast, and your vehicle looking great. 4 Tommy's Express Car Wash locations in Fargo on 32nd Avenue and across from West Acres, and in Moorhead on South 8th Street and on US 10. So take care of that fly ride at one of the 4 Tommy's Express Car Wash locations in Fargo, Moorhead. Tommy's Express Car Wash.
Recycling at work can make a big impact. We all get busy, and tons of paper, cardboard, and plastic can get used at your office. While most of us have made recycling a part of our routine at home, it's not the same at work. Minn Kota Recycling encourages you to create a primary location for employees to put their paper in boxes and for those plastic bottles and soda cans that people use. If you make it routine and standard procedure, they will come. And remember, for those confidential shredding needs, Minn Kota can help you there as well. A message from Minn Kota Recycling.
Would you enjoy having 3 hot meals a day? Someone did your dishes, laundry, and helped manage your health concerns. For over 125 years, the Veterans Home has been providing quality care for veterans and their spouses. You were there for us. Now let us be there for you. Call us at 701-683-6500 or visit ndvh.nd.gov.
This ad is sponsored by the North Dakota Cares Coalition and aired in cooperation with the North Dakota Broadcasters Association and this station.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
When you're rolling Charmin ultra soft on the potty, this is supposed to roll it back, everybody. Charmin's irresistibly soft and hella nice. The crib is always stocked. It's our party vice. So our chicks feel fly. So what? Everybody wanna touch the sky.
Charmin Ultra Soft is irresistibly soft and more absorbent, so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
Of course I use Mr. Clean Magic Eraser to clean tough messes off my stovetop and bathtub. But then I discovered I can also use it to easily clean my patio furniture and even my shoes. I'm hooked.
And when wipes won't cut it, I use Magic Eraser Sheets. They're thin and flexible erasers, perfect for everyday messes, like gunk on my counters and sinks. They really are magical.
The reviews are in. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser and Sheets make cleaning look easy.
Weather and Ag in Focus on WDAY Radio.
That Windows
nice
one
one,
is
Dean.
probably one of my favorites. That's all I gotta say. The Windows crash is one of my personal favorites. But welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thanks for rejoining us. It's 1:53 on this afternoon. Temperatures in the mid 60s to low 70s across the area, and wind staying light for the moment. But what's the rest of the day and the weekend looking like? Dean, what do you got for us?
You take it.
You want me to take it?
You take it, buddy.
I ain't got my notes in front of me.
Okay, well,
we'll just shoot off the top of the head maybe.
I got this.
Let's
I
have
got this.
Bridgette do the forecast.
Okay, the forecast is it's all going to be fine through this weekend until I travel somewhere next week, and then it all hits the fan. Done. I got
it. That's pretty accurate.
You're not too wrong on that.
That's pretty accurate.
Pretty nice there.
Great.
You were saying earlier, with 60s to low 70s out there, and it's lots of sunshine. Wind is light, but it'll turn breezier this afternoon. West-northwest winds will kick up about 10 to 25. We'll get a few gusts stronger than that at times, with temperatures rounding out near 70 degrees here in Fargo, and again, 60s to low 70s around the area. Tonight, clear skies down to lows in the mid-40s. It will remain breezy, and Saturday will stay breezy as well. Starting the day off sunny, but we'll get an increase of clouds throughout the afternoon. That'll cap temperatures just a little bit near 60 degrees before the winds lighten up a touch for the end of our weekend on Sunday. Can't rule out a pop-up shower possible late in the day, but as a whole, Sunday looks pretty dry with temps in the low 60s. And then it's all downhill, as Bridgette said. We got several chances for showers next week with a pretty considerable cool down from near 60 degrees on Monday into the 40s and 30s by the upcoming weekend. See if that snow system pans out, hitting us, hitting out west, hitting Canada. Maybe the whole thing will dive south.
Well, and the latest European
or fall apart.
The European has been accurate, where it just kind of splits this thing apart, and we really don't get much at all. But our American model has been very consistent on the other side, saying we are going to get hit. So
this is going to be a big boy.
It's the battle of the two of at least the long-term models, and we'll see which one pans out. I know last year the American model was pretty much worthless. So fingers crossed that's the case. That's the case. But either way, in terms of a storm, whether we get a storm or we don't get a storm, we're going to get a dump of cold air by next weekend behind that system. So be ready for that.
Mm-hmm.
Be ready.
Well,
for that.
it's
we taking bets already?
No.
Yeah, we can get cold air. I'm fine with that. But I just don't need the snow.
Bridgette already told us. Just cold, no snow. She already said earlier in the show.
She did.
Check.
Yep.
Check the box. Chink. All done, boys.
Checking it. I'm going to say no snow, but cold.
Mm-hmm. And you know what?
Checked.
It's awesome. We've got so many of our soybeans done. We have a lot of our sugar beets off. Most of the potatoes have been dug. Corn's moving along. So yes,
just
right
those
now.
poor sunflowers.
They'll be out there. And those poor sunflowers are sort of used to this kind of thing. So we don't need snow. It can just be cold when it's time to go get the sunflowers.
Snow play a big factor in harvest. Like, let's just say that hypothetical, you have a couple inches of snow on the ground. Does that stop sunflower harvesting, or can you harvest through the snow as long as it's not hitting into the header?
A couple of feet of snow make a difference. A couple of inches of snow on the ground, not so bad. And remember, right now, those sunflower heads, those heads are hanging down because they're so heavy. So snow accumulates on the backside of the head. And when that happens, it's additional moisture. When the sun comes out and they warm up and it melts moisture into there. Oh. So now we have to see what's happening with the moisture conditions before we combine. Yes, sir. Justin, sir, you have your hand up.
Yeah,
sir.
I got a question. I don't know if you can answer this, but how much weight in inches of average snow can a sunflower head hold before it snaps off?
A lot. I don't have an answer for that one yet.
All right. So if we just cake this thing with freezing rain, could it hang on to that?
Oh, no. Oh, that's...
Oh. All right, the freezing rain will do it. All right.
PTSD. That's bad. That's bad. No.
Everyone, welcome back to 2019. This is going to wrap up the show, everyone. Thanks for listening throughout the week. We're back on Monday, 1 to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. What identifies as number 1 in the afternoon, the Jay Thomas Show, is coming up next.
Start